Hey folks, so yeah, this is my third attempt at filming this. The first time I actually tried to do it in the thrift store. Um, and yeah, it felt weird. And actually one of the employees came over and said, we don't really like it when people film in here. So yeah, that didn't happen. So then I'm like, you know what? Because I was pretty excited by this find, as you're going to see in a second. I decided to go and try it out in the van, which I've done before. But unfortunately, this thrift store is right near where a high rise is going up, and the construction noises of concrete being broken and various construction workers yelling obscenities um, made it really terrible when I played it back. You can't really hear anything, which might be better than my voice. Some people have commented that they love turning the sound off when my videos are on. Thanks for that. Probably because I'm long-winded, just like I am here. But anyways, I had decided to try it in here, which is, I get to control the environment, so it works a little better. I had that miracle happen. I don't know. Where I was in the thrift store, and as I was walking over to the rack and looking through the James Last entire anthology, which always seems to be there, nothing against James Last, but not my cup of tea, the person who puts the media out rolled around with their cart and unloaded about twice as many records as this right in front of me, directly in front of me, and I was the only person there. So I got really excited, and about, as I said, half of those records were pretty beat up. There were some good titles in there that I did leave behind. There were more Talking Heads. There were a few more. There were some Neil Young records in there. Various other interesting stuff, but just not in, like, too far gone, as far as I'm concerned. But these ones I pulled out, the records are all in really nice shape. One or two of the covers have a little bit of wear. One has some water damage, but not just staining, nothing really bad. And the titles here are pretty interesting. That was the cool thing about this, is it's an interesting collection. It's not just your usual classic rock or type thing. It is more along the lines of like fusion jazz, kind of funk, fusion rock, prog type stuff in here, leaning towards, fusion jazz more than anything else. So without further ado, I will get into this. This one is pretty interesting. This is actually a later reissue of it. And by later, I think it was like originally issued in 68, and this came around 63. It's Larry Coryell, John McLaughlin, Chick Corea, Billy Cobham. It's pretty much a fusion all-star band, as it were. So I was pretty happy to come across that. Gatman Joan took a risk on this, never heard of him. It's kind of a little more middle of the road jazz, but pretty great cover. On there you can see the $2.99 each stickers on the back, which come off really easy, actually, especially these, because they've only been on probably for less than a day. I just take the record out of the sleeve, get a hair dryer, and then just heat that up, and it comes off and doesn't leave any glue or anything behind. So there you go, a little hint on how to remove that stuff. Dominic Triano, great Canadian guitarist. This one is it's the Dominic Triano Band. Really good record again. Pierre Moreland's Gong. I wasn't familiar with this one at all, but I looked at the players on the back, and if you see, does it actually see on here? Yeah. So you got Mike Oldfield, Mick Taylor, ex-Stones guitar player, and Steve Winwood on there. So I figured, why not? Al Di Meola. This was one that I didn't really know much about at all. A band called Spartan, and the album cover looks like some awesome, like, metal cover. It's not. They're more along the lines of prog. They're actually Canadian, and this one was put out on a Canadian private label. Those are the guys there. Face the Creator. See, it's even just saying it sounds like it should be something like awesome metal. but it was recorded at the Marigold Studios in Toronto. Um, and I checked it on Discogs afterwards. And interestingly enough, there are actually two pressings of it. I think this is the harder to find one on the green label. But yeah, there were actually two copies of it in there. No idea why, both in pretty good shape. This one has a little bit of water staining along the one edge, as I mentioned before, but the other one is perfectly fine. And the records are great. So Tom Scott and the LA Express, again, another sort of jazzy funk fusion. Sea Level, John Miles, Phil Manzanera, Diamond Head. Like, this is a classic sort of proggy record. For those who don't know, and I'm sure all of you do, Phil Manzanera was the guitar player from Roxy Music. So he did solo stuff, and I think Eno's actually on this. A little more traditional jazz. Oscar Peterson, it's on Verve. This is a band called the 11th House with Larry Coryell, which was that First Space record that we saw. Again, kind of proggy, funky, jazz, fusion type stuff. Another Phil Manzanera, 801. Chick Corea. This is a great record. Pretty hard to find, actually. Sadly, this is the one that had the most water damage along there and some staining. But the record itself was really nice, so I'll probably just keep that one for myself. Oregon on Vanguard. Talking Heads. I can't say enough about Talking Heads, but we got two of them. Fear of Music with the actual embossed cover on there. Big Country. Kind of stuck out a little bit amongst this crowd, but still pretty cool. Joni Mitchell's Court and Spark. Frank Soda, good old Canadian boy, and the Imps with Soda Pop. Simple Minds. New Gold Dream. The Furs. FM, City of Fear. Most Canadian people who collect records know that out of FM came Nash the Slash. You put on bandages and just became Nash the Slash one day. Quicksilver's Anthology, it's a 2-record set. Brother Jack McDuff, Do It Now. So yeah, pretty happy about that. There are 26 records there. For those of you who think it's suspect that it didn't happen, here is the Value Village receipt. 26 records at $2.99 each. And I also had a 20% off coupon, so that didn't hurt at all. I also went over to another thrift store they hit that I never find records at. I think in the 10 years I found one good group of records, but once in a while something shows up, and the David Gilmour solo record. No, not a big deal. I don't particularly think it's a great record, but for Floyd fans, they're always looking for it. So yeah, again, nothing crazy in there. It's not like I found, like a Butcher cover or anything like that. But still, I don't know about you guys. And it's funny because literally the day before, someone had commented on one of my other videos that they never find anything at thrifts or garage sales or anything anymore. And I said, yeah, it's really dried up. I probably at this point should stop saying that, because if you're there at the right place in the right time, you can still get some decent records at thrift stores. I mean, it's worth going. It is discouraging because 90% of the time you go, you don't find anything. Usually it's overpriced. Usually the condition's terrible. And on this group that all just came in at once, it's, pretty decent condition. And an interesting selection. Not the kind of thing you usually run across. So yeah, well happy, well pleased with that. And yeah, I hope you all are able to find something out there. Maybe if you guys have ever had a really good find at the thrift stores, throw it in the comments below, because I love hearing about that kind of stuff. It keeps me going. It's the sort of thing that gets me excited, and the reason why I keep going back to thrifts, even though it's like a baseball team for, basically every time you get up, even if you're successful, you're only hitting, maybe 270, 370. In terms of percentages, that's basically losing out. But, you show up, you swing, and hopefully you get some good records. I'll leave it with a baseball analogy. because I love baseball, even though my Blue Jays got knocked out. All right, y'all. Bye.